Andre.
Michael.
I feel like a tequila.
I do too, and this is actually not the start of the podcast. This is what we call in the podcast biz a pre-roll advertisement.
Whatever he said. So...
Los Arango. If I want a tequila, it's got to be the Los Arango Reposado.
You know what? And I was so thrilled that we went down to Mexico that we got a wonderful 3-part miniseries out of it. That that they brought us down there, and you know what? If you want to bring us down to wherever you are, I'm talking to you, Beaujolais. I would love to go down with Andre and learn a little bit more. But right now, it's about Los Areño, and thank you very much for them.
It is the tequila-ist tequila that you can get from the LCBO.
The Reposado was fabulous. And you know what I really want to see in the LCBO is that one that's made with that coffee. I really want... That was the most amazing.
I'm waiting for the Blanco. We went down with Ihor Burka, who is the president and CEO of Interbev, the agency that reps Los Arango. And when we had margaritas, and we drank a lot of margaritas in Mexico, he would always request the margaritas made with a Blanco. And Los Arango makes a great Blanco, but you can't get that right now. You can only get the Reposado. So run, don't walk to your nearest LCBO, and get yourself a bottle of the Los Arango Reposado.
Now that they are open.
Thank you for sponsoring the podcast, Los Arango. Have a great summer, everyone.
We appreciate it.
You're listening to Two Guys Talking Wine with Michael Pinkus and Andre Prue.
Hello, Michael.
Andre.
You know, we were supposed to have a theme song for Stump the Chump at one point. I know I took a crack at singing it before. Can you sing us a little theme song?
Stump the Chump. Stump the Chump.
Oh, that's actually not bad. All right, before we get into the wines that are blind, we are joined once again by Joel Wilcox as we learn the triple threat of sommelier, wine agent extraordinaire, and
negociant,
virtual winery owner. And we are going to revisit, before we get started, the 2009 Brickhouse Pinot Noir, which showed like Pinot. You and I both blinded it properly as Pinot. Sorry, Brickyard? Did I say Brickhouse? Yes, okay.
Because Andre is a brick house.
So somehow...
He's mighty.
Somehow, the fruit came back to this wine a little bit.
Actually, it has. I'm surprised at that one.
And this, I don't think this would have been... This might have been top 5 or 6 in our Pinot Extravaganza 2 episodes ago if it was showing the way it is now.
If we had gone back to it. Right when opened, it would have sat in the end, but I don't know, would we have gone back to it?
All right.
That becomes the question.
I need to read just a quick conversation. I messaged Derek Barnett with a photo of it. Derek Barnett was the winemaker. I sent him a photo, and he responded with, "Any good? I know the winemaker." To which I gave my tasting note at the time, a little dried out, mushrooms galore. Anything to add about this vintage? And he said, "The bottle looks empty, so maybe it is okay." And I said, "We just tasted it blind." He said, "This is the interesting part. The vintage was the latest Pinot Noir pick ever. It was on a Thanksgiving Monday, so I guess it'd be around October 10th to 13th, depending on the year. We'd have to check a calendar because this would have been picked in 2009. Cold and wet, but no breakdown. It was a really pretty vintage. Maybe the Brickyard was less forward than others we made that year. More spice. The vines were still fairly young." I mean, it is a 15-year-old Pinot from a tough vintage. There's Derek being a little self-deprecating and softening the blow.
Is he at your back gate? Did I just hear his car?
Maybe. But yeah, so this came back to life a little bit.
It did. I was kind of surprised by that. So, good call, Joel.
I didn't do anything but pull the cork and break it while doing so.
Well, at some point you bought it, too, so you must have done that.
All right, we're going to do the biggest Stump the Chump ever. You pulled 10 wines from your cellar.
I did. We can stop at any time, but...
we're going to play MMA rules? Like it's full submission or tap out? Like, is that what we're doing?
You can tap out if you really want to, if that's what you want to do, I guess. But, Joel, now it's time to put that sommelier hat on and see if you've lost anything.
You get an actual hat?
Yes, they do. And that little thing that goes around your neck, that taste of vin. Yeah.
We've actually upgraded to sombreros now, so it's...
nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
New millennium. I'll be very honest. I'm quite out of practice. I don't think I've done a blind tasting in about
All right.
10 years. So
There's no theme here because I figured we had a sommelier, so I was going all.
Isn't it nice knowing, because you're a regular listener to the podcast, that there's a chance you could be tasting something from Kentucky here?
I look forward to that.
All right, so obviously we're looking for where it's from, maybe a vintage if you can do it,
variety,
and what is the grape. So,
all right, we got a broken cork on the first one.
Yeah, this one just snapped right off.
So clearly not a 2023 screw cap sealed wine, or
but surprisingly,
oh, we're off to a great start as always, Michael. I love it when the first thing I smell out of my glass is like Heinz tomato ketchup.
Woo.
burnt rubber.
I actually this one I actually know what it is, so I'm not going to say anything. But there's a reason I brought this bottle. So.
And raisin. So there we go. Heinz tomato ketchup, raisin, and burnt rubber.
Well, it's funny when you say Heinz tomato ketchup. Like sometimes you get tomato leaf out of mature Bordeaux varieties, and the color. Like this is.
What do you think? This smells more like French's?
This tastes more like port. It's got a real port-like note to it. Wow. Woo. Like a tawny
Sorry, we
port.
cut you off, Joel, and I made a joke. Like
no. But it's there's too much maderization and oxidation going on for me to be able to identify it. So, yeah.
Okay, this is where we take lucky stabs. I'm gonna guess this is Niagara from 1998, and it is a Bordeaux variety of some sort. Cab Sauv, Cab Franc, and Merlot mixed together.
1998 Ontario Bordeaux blend.
You know what? I've learned in my time that one guess is as good as any when it comes to something like this. It's really too old for me to make a real assessment, but I like the staying in the Bordeaux camp, so the Cab Merlot idea is there. I mean, is it 98? I don't know. It's certainly got at least 15, 20 years on it, so yeah, I'm okay with that assessment.
So, Andre, I brought this because I told you that once upon a time when I was buying under $10 bottles of wine, David Lorison came along and he said, for $10.05, you can buy the long flat red from Australia. And I had to break the $10 barrier for the very first time. And lo and behold, I found a bottle in the cellar of that bottle of $10.05 wine. It's the long flat 2003 Cabernet Sauvignon. So that was $10.05 when I bought it.
I was so close. Like, it is completely an Ontario style Bordeaux blend from.
But as I said, there's a reason I brought it. It was because I keep telling you the story about the long flat red and the David Lorison and breaking my $10 barrier. That's the bottle that did it. Obviously, did not survive the 21 years.
Well, but the mature cab notes, like I say, tomato leaf, it kind of goes in that direction, and you don't really feel the alcohol. I mean, it's saying 14.
I'm feeling the alcohol.
I did. I definitely. What does it say?
Right in the middle.
14%.
Yeah, right in the middle of my palate.
That's where I got the tawny port idea from. So,
maybe you're just immune to it at this point.
Yeah, it's it's not bourbon, right? So.
Okay, so back onto Terra Firma here.
Okay, well, this smells better. At least it smells more like regular wine.
Yes, sorry. I just, as I said, I had to bring that just to see where it was going, or where it had been, or because I have no more of that for sure. And thank God for that. Okay, I do not 100% remember what these are. I did these 2 days ago, and I only marked the two bottles. You'll notice that there's a 1 on the long flat, and there's a 3 on one bottle.
Oh, you mixed them all up? That's amazing.
And then I mixed the rest of them up. But I did want to at least try the 1 and the 3 for sure, so that I knew what they were and didn't guess.
I have no idea what this is, but it's kind of pleasant. Actually, not kind of pleasant. It is pleasant. But I think that's just in contrast to the last one. It's red.
I like the palate better than I like the nose.
It's still got quite a bit of tannin, so Here's the thing: it's soft on the front but firm on the back. So I don't know if this is a Syrah.
It feels so. There's a meatiness and the way that there's sort of like this reduction playing in that feels Southern Rhone, but I'm still getting, and I'm not sure if it's the remnants from the previous cab.
I know that's what I'm thinking too.
Yeah, like that vegetal sort of note that's kind of coming through. So I don't know if that's just residual. It reminds me of, cab from the Languedoc, but at the same time,
ooh, that's a good. Oh,
yeah. I'm gonna just throw this, dump this, and try it again.
yeah. You know what? I'm totally placing my bet behind Joel, though. This feels more like Languedoc. It's got Syrah-esque qualities, but it's missing that like depth that you usually get from the Southern Rhone. It's a little easier drinking. I'm gonna go and say it's a Languedoc GSM of some sort.
The other way to look at it is it could be like something like Malsaint. If you're going to Spain and hanging out with some of those.
Would those have ever been $10 at the LCBO though?
Oh
no! So you don't know if you're at $10 anymore. Now this could
would
be
those
anything.
have ever been $20 at the LCBO?
You could have found maybe a Umea for $15.95 perhaps.
Umea.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Jamila.
This has a bit of age, but not much. I'd say this is no more than 10 years old. This is a 2014. We'll go with that.
2014 GSM
Languedoc
from southern France. Languedoc. You're going Languedoc. And you've gone Spain?
I don't know. I'm kind of going back to that Southern Rhone GSM angle, maybe. I don't know. It's, I gotta say, the worst at this. Stop
making excuses for things that haven't happened yet.
0 out of 10. That's fine.
I'm getting the pyrazines on this one, so I'm going to go Cabernet Franc. That's because I don't know if I'm like a pregnant woman whose heightened senses.
I think you're on pyrazines because this is like beautifully ripe to me.
So I can pick up pyrazines on that, so I'm going to guess it is a Cabernet Franc. So if I'm picking up pyrazines, then it's probably not a ripe vintage if it is from Ontario. So I'll go Ontario because of that. So 13 or 14.
Okay, so you think it's the same age as I do?
So here we go. I really like it on the palate though.
Oh, wow.
So it's a Lacey Estates
Cab Franc.
Cabernet Franc 2012.
Tasty wine.
And it's a VQA Ontario.
So probably Niagara fruit.
Not necessarily. I think at that time they didn't have VQA Prince Edward County. Did they not?
That's a good question.
Hang on. Hand me the bottle.
Yeah,
is that a sticker?
They should have.
VQA?
They should have had VQA PEC at that point.
Was it there? Okay,
I believe so. But if it's Ontario, then it would be.
Well, they added the VQA after. They may have had a hard time getting this through.
Interesting.
And also, a quick a rest in peace to Kimball Lacey, who recently passed away suddenly. I guess this is the nice thing about the wine business is there's going to be memories of Kimball down the road.
Correct. And this was a lovely bottle of Franc at the time, and it's a lovely bottle now. So I remember really, really liking that bottle when it came out. So
I'd be really curious to know the source of the fruit.
But again,
I remember Kimball working mainly with bench fruit or Lincoln Lakeshore fruit.
But I think that's really interesting that we both. Well, I thought it was a 13 or 14 because it was underripe. 12 is a ripe vintage.
But that's the thing, though, is Joel, or I think you might be in a pregnant lady mode where something about your nose or mouth today. And this is once again not to say that you're wrong or anything, but like I didn't get any pyrazine on that, and it was the same thing with the last episode with the Pearl Morissette Cab Franc. Neither you or I got bell pepper on it, but we got some pyrazine.
Well, that's kind of like what we tasted in the first cab, and the leaf and that sort of herbal spectrum. Oh, you're on to the third wine.
Yes, no, I'll let you finish your thought.
Yeah. That's why there was a synergy between those two, right? I mean, the grapes will show similar aromatics. 10 years old onwards. It's just I'm really surprised by the density and weight out of that. I mean,
Well,
For
the
12.
12 is
12 is
a
a hot year.
vin-
Yeah,
hot
yeah,
year.
absolutely.
Hot year.
Yep,
So
100%.
Which I love the palate on that. I thought it was great.
It's not over extracted like a lot of people did in 2012. That's definitely holding on better than most of 2012s. Sorry, I had a visceral response to the third one, and I can say this without, I guess, taking anyone in a guiding direction. This smells like my mother's molasses cookies, and I mean that in the best way possible. Like, I actually want to go make a batch of molasses cookies now.
All right. Well, let's pause the tape.
And we're back with Andre's molasses cookies.
They're delicious. When did you learn this recipe, Andre?
I learned it when I moved to Ontario in 2007.
These are delicious. Wow. Thank you very much for these.
But this smells like my childhood. One of the pieces of my childhood.
And Joel, now that we also have these cookies, I think he's right.
Yeah, I think of chewy wines. I think of molasses cookies. Now, no, it's interesting. The black currant really stands out, and it's kind of one of those wines that it reminds me of some of the ripest cabs that I've tried and some of the ripest Shirazes that I've tried. It feels so ripe on the nose, the way that the fruit just kind of runs up and hits you. I haven't even gotten it on the palate yet, to be honest.
So I had marked this bottle, so I cannot guess on it. So
this is really cool. It's old. It's not super old though. I think we're looking. I'm gonna go once again to 2013. This is a 10-year-old wine. It's warm and dense, so I'm going to guess country or state that starts with a C.
Country or state that starts with a C.
So you're narrowing it down to Chile and California, then?
I am.
Yeah.
But I'm not confident either way. I'm thinking this is more California just from the density. There is quite a bit of alcohol on it.
So my gut says it's younger, within the last 5 years. It's so primary still to me. I mean, maybe there's going to be some development, but if it does have this, again, it's on that edge, right? Where you've got, if there is something through the oak to sort of bring it in with this caramelized angle that is sort of changing, but I still just get so much current, and it's sort of, I don't want to say it's one-dimensional in that respect, but I don't get a big depth right off the hip. So let's give it some air. If it weren't a blind tasting,
I still don't think we're going to get a ton of depth on this.
Yeah,
it's kind of like a square on the palate, like a narrow square. It's hitting
those
the
are rectangles.
back and the side.
Those are rectangles.
Okay, it's a rectangle. Yep, that is what a rectangle is, guys.
Wow.
And it's
Andre's forgotten shape.
It's the same shape as your cookies too. So.
Oh, I made rectangle-shaped molasses cookies?
Yeah.
Financier. Yeah.
Basically, you kind of made them like a pizza, and then you just kind of cut them. So, but they weren't round; they were square in the pan.
For everybody at home listening, I did not actually stop the tape and make cookies.
He actually did make the cookies. Now he's just trying to save himself.
I will make the cookies after this podcast.
They are delicious, by the way.
And maybe you'll find them available for sale at a local bakery, perhaps.
Yeah, if Anya will let me anywhere near her oven at Chateau.
So thank you, Mama Prue.
If I had to just go on instinct, I would have said this was Aussie Shiraz, but I'm probably wrong. And as I taste it more and more, I like your Chilean angle because the fruit is pure. But
yeah, it's just it's for me it's missing the spice of Shiraz. It's missing the eucalyptus to be Aussie Cab Sauce. That's why I'm not guessing that.
Yep.
Oh, why do you have that grin on your face?
Well, I'm waiting for you guys to finally come up with something because I
think it's affordable Cali Cab. Not going to specify beyond that. It's got nice density. Still got that really molasses on the nose.
So a Cali Cabernet Sauvignon 2014. Joel?
I was thinking more 2018, 2019, but let's go with Chilean Carmenere.
So I'd like to thank my friend Rodney Hertz from Ohio for bringing me this bottle. It's from Laurentia Winery. It's a 2016. It's a Cabernet Franc from Ohio.
Ohio,
That is not terrible.
the Buckeye State.
That is an Ohio wine. So thank you, Rodney. He said, this is really good. You're going to love it. And it's been sitting on my shelf ever since going, I don't think I'm going to love
Since
it.
2019. You know what? I'll bet you this would have been lovely when
I was like,
2019.
I'm a little bit afraid of it because when I went to Ohio and tasted the wines, I was like, I don't like many of these.
I like the label, too. It's got a bit of a Hamilton Russell vibe to it.
So 2016, presumably warm vintage
Would've been
over
warm
there
vintage for them too, yeah.
But the back says 12% alcohol, which isn't.
No.
Yeah, but I think this is where the wood kind of fools you because sometimes you get that extra little texture on the palate, and it feels like you got something more going on. It didn't feel super heavy, but at the same time, the fruit and that oak just kind of married and was so bright that. Yeah.
Well, I'm just happy that I got within 2 years of the vintage.
There you go.
Thank you, Rodney, for that. You were right. It was a very good wine.
Whoa. Did you just admit you were wrong to someone that wasn't me?
Yes.
That doesn't happen very often.
No, not at all. So
Oh, this does not smell good.
now I'm back on the train because I have no idea what this is. I didn't number the bottles or anything this time.
The first three wines were like we were going at an adequate pace. The fourth wine here is just like 10.
That's not good. That is not good. That is not good. I can't say it again.
I'm going to guess that this wine
is
from the gates
over
of
the
hell.
hill.
From the gates of hell.
You wouldn't be far off.
I'm going to go to 100 BC, and someone had to sell their soul for you to get this bottle.
So
Well-
it's over 10 years.
So this is a Devil Went Down to Georgia wine.
Ah,
We're going back to Kentucky.
this is not Kentucky. This is too good for the. Trust me, it'll be way worse when the Kentucky wine shows up.
We're on to Tennessee, and Tennessee
You know-
is 10 and believing.
Do you know what? The you're
Shut up, Michael. There's nothing redeeming about this
it's
Satan
old.
wine.
It's old, but it's got a sweet fruit note, sweet dried fruit. It's not great. Anybody want to guess anything, or are we just going to tap out on that one? And
I'm tapping out on this one. It's
not
bad.
worth-
This is worse than that batch of molasses cookies that you burnt last week.
Oh,
So,
do not give Michael an opening to talk to me about burning food.
Oh,
I
wow.
burnt chicken once, literally 10 years ago, and he still won't shut up about it.
wow. So this is a Masi Tupongato Paso Doble, which is a Malbec Corvina from Argentina,
Uh-huh.
2007. So basically,
Is this
in
the Italian Massey?
Masi, yeah, but they go to Argentina. They bring Corvina and they bring Malbec to the table, and they make it in a Ripasso style.
Yeah, who thought this was a good idea? This is like making a Passamento Pinot Noir in Ontario.
well, they
Yeah,
are,
it was not a good idea, and it doesn't age. So now this one, look out for little pieces of cork.
Oh, there's some.
Okay, this was a. I will say this about this wine: the cork was really, really, really soft. The corkscrew went so easily into this wine, like there was no give, no nothing, and it
This
just
smells
broke
like
in half.
Worcestershire sauce.
I think we might-
Worcester sauce.
Where's your Worcestershire?
Worcestershire.
Oh, it does.
Yeah, I'm aware. Listen, I'm no expert, but
So you're saying it's oxidized?
I think you opened it too soon. I think if you'd kept it for another 5 years, it actually would have turned into a decent Worcester sauce.
I don't think it's terrible. I wouldn't drink a glass of it, but it's not terrible.
So then what is terrible to you? That's kind of setting a new low for terrible.
No.
I'm going to say this is terrible.
Does anybody want to guess what it is? Anybody want to guess? Where's it from even?
I'm going to guess it's from Leon Perrins, which would make it England. The variety is the Worcester variety.
The worst variety?
The Worcester. Like, I'm guessing if you make Worcestershire sauce, it's got to come from the Worcester variety, right?
variety?
But we're going to give Joel a guess since I'm just clowning around.
I think this is, again, one of these wines that was probably pretty good in its day when Michael purchased it, but it seems to be over the hill at this point. I feel like there's too much oxidation going on. To me, oxidized wines, even if it's a small degree, like it just sort of sets my mind in a certain frame, and I have a hard time breaking it down. It might have been a Bordeaux variety, might have been some Merlot, but I mean, I don't know. I think you're beyond. It feels like it's beyond 10 years, and
you would be correct on beyond 10 years. Yes.
Okay.
So we talked about him in the previous podcast. I don't think he made it. Or he made it. It's a 2008 Cabernet Sauvignon. So
that would have been Andrei Lipinski then.
That could have been Lipinski.
Yeah.
Because it says it should have Lipinski's initials on the bottom. It does not. So it says it's 100% Cabernet Sauvignon, aged 18 months in French oak. It's organized crime. Oh, and there's Lipinski's initials right there. So. But a fairly weak vintage, right? So
this could have been quality of closure on this case. Like when you said that the cork was soft, like and Joel, like I think it's what you said too. Like that wine may have been good in its youth, but the closure that it was sealed under didn't do it any favors.
No, it was so soft it broke in half even before I got the cork any farther.
Ooh, this is chocolatey.
So this is under screw cap. I just want to point that out. It's the only wine I brought that is a screw cap wine.
it's healthy.
It's healthy. I'd drink this.
Yeah.
The flavors are good.
So you know what it is because you wrap these. So stop talking.
I actually don't know what it is. I know the winery. I told you when I wrapped them 2 days ago. My hope this time, instead of numbering them, because sometimes...
My favorite thing about doing Stump the Chump with you is you basically just rely on yourself being a little bit Joe Biden when you wrap these bottles and just having a senior's moment.
Correct. I have no idea what's going on half the time when I'm wrapping them. I don't look at the year when I'm wrapping them. And I'll be honest, like when I numbered them, I knew they were in a certain order, right? So that I would do Pinot or I would do Cabs at the end and things like that. But this time, I didn't number them at all. That's where the Ohio Cab Franc comes in third, because I definitely wanted to try that one.
All right, I know I've been saying the same year over and over again. Actually, no, I'm going to let you go first, and then I'll see if I agree or disagree with you.
So it's interesting. There's...
I'm opening up wines behind the scene.
There's some development here. But there's a lot of freshness and youth. Now, based on the bricking, I'm guessing that we're probably 6 years in. So what are we? Somewhere between 2018, 2015. It could have been from a hot vintage. It feels Niagara to me. And I'm not saying that just to hedge my bets on what Michael's got in the cellar. But there's a freshness and levity about it. That's quite nice. Now, it's dense enough that I don't think we're talking Pinot or Gamay necessarily. So if it is Niagara, then that kind of brings us into the cab world. There's something Syrah-y about it because there's this reductive quality that I tend to associate with Syrah, and not that it has to be, but it could be from the closure. I don't know. Could be a cab Syrah. That would narrow it down, but that's not to say that it is, and not to say that it's totally Syrah. It doesn't scream cab. It doesn't scream Syrah. It screams like a well-made Ontario wine, but I'm not getting enough variety markers to really put my finger down on one right now. Andre, what do you think?
I think it's got a lot of spice. For me, my brain went straight Shiraz.
Yeah.
I think this is an Aussie Shiraz, and I think sealed under screw cap. I know I've been saying a lot of 2014s. I think this is a 10-year-old Aussie Shiraz.
I need to give it more air. Fair enough. And maybe that spice is going to come through.
See, again, I'm picking up capsicum. Yeah, I'm picking up the capsicums.
Hang on, let's check with my wife, who's beside me. I'm using my phone, a friend. Does it smell like bell pepper?
So I'm going to go...
and my wife is getting bell pepper on this. Did you get bell pepper on this, Joel?
So I'm going to go Cab Franc.
I didn't get any underripe on this.
And then I'm... like a little pie... Yeah.
Oh, see, so...
towards black pepper, so you're...
Okay, so Anya's guess is it's Cabernet Franc. What vintage?
It was under screw cap. Okay.
It's Cabernet Franc.
I've got a vintage in mind. I'm not gonna say anything until...
That's
cork from the last one. Sorry, yeah, that's...
Yeah, Anya's just joined us after putting wee baby Spencer to bed.
Spenny.
Hashtag Spenny. All right.
Spencer
Hurry up.
Rooney's pretty good,
Vintage.
too.
Vintage. Taking another sip?
So, Joel, while she's doing that, what is your, what are you going with so far?
He said Niagara.
Yeah.
He said Cab Shiraz, or Cab Syrah.
Okay.
Yeah, like there's something Syrah-esque about it, but again, not like definitively so. That's why I sort of think it might be a blend. But I used to being wrong. So let's just pull it and continue on.
Pull the
So
trigger.
Anya, variety, you said Cab Franc?
Okay.
Niagara?
And year?
Okay, so it's 15. I said 2014.
You go 14?
Let's just say 16.
16? I'm going to go even further back. I'm going to go 9 because it's
You don't get to play. You know what wine this is.
I know the producer, and I could show you the producer on the top of the cap.
Let me read the producer on the cap. Oh my god, I am wrong as crap. It is Fielding. I am looking at the Muskoka chair.
I'm thinking
I thought this was Aussie Shiraz. I'm not even close.
See, I thought
Look at the nice color in the top.
so,
That's what happens to the screw cap when you age it.
When you put it on the side.
yes, I do put them on the side.
Yeah.
So 2010
Fireside Red.
2010 Cabernet Franc.
Cabernet Franc.
100% Cabernet Franc. I think that's I like that. I think that's a delicious wine.
You can stop saying you don't know about wine. We've been doing this a while. That's lovely.
I think it's lovely.
Yeah.
That's great.
That's awesome.
Oh, Michael, I don't know if you just heard Anya just signed herself up for the next Stump the Chump.
All right. Oh,
All right, well, I was completely wrong on that.
Is it themed? You won't know.
That one,
That was
man.
really good.
And
10, so that's 14 years old, Cabernet Franc, under screw cap. Thank you.
that's the thing is, for me, okay, this is the thing about Stump the Chump is I try to guess a little bit based on what's in Michael's cellar, knowing what his cellar is. I couldn't think of any producer in Ontario making that quality of that ripe of wine under screw cap. So I think that's a true testament to how great that wine was from Fielding.
It's funny because we just had the organized crime. You've got a Lipinski moving on to a different, and Fielding started with Lipinski too. Remember?
Correct.
There
Yeah.
was,
But that time, I think that's Richie.
I'm pretty sure Richie was there by 10. Yeah,
by 10, yeah, for sure.
Because there's Arthur, I think, was there for a little bit.
Arthur Harder was there for a bit.
I can't remember the order of it, but
I think by 10, I think Richie's definitely there
yeah.
because he'd moved on to organized crime. We had Andre on, and he is the winemaker who has started more Ontario wineries than any other winemaker. Like
He was kind of the guy.
What do we have? Like we got up to 15 before we lost count. I think like 15 wineries that he started the winery. Like he was the initial winemaker. I have no idea what this is.
It tastes better. It tastes better than it smells. There's not much going on in the nose. On the mouth, it's like light and fruity and
reminds me of Northern Italian red. Like there's something about it where there's this like savory, like not weedy, but you know how sometimes there can be this combination of dried peppers and beetroot and cranberry and
I think I'm with Joel on this one.
That's where
I'm with Joel on this one too.
yeah. So like to me, like if I were to taste this, just like just put it in my glass. And I'm starting to think of like I'm on Lake Garda and I'm drinking some somebody's Scava or something like that. I don't know. Like I'm feeling kind of.
Yeah, but you think this is an ultra?
No, I don't think it's. I don't think it's that.
I don't think it's Scava. I think we're going a little further down in Italy.
I think that'd be cool if that's what was in your cellar.
What, Scava?
Yeah,
I may have a Scava. I'd have to look.
Yeah. Single varietal Grignolino.
I want to go Italy as well. I may have gone deep in the cellar. I'm going to go 2005. But I'm thinking more along the lines of like maybe an Abruzzo.
but the tannin's so soft on this.
But I don't think it's a Chianti. I'm going to go Abruzzo. So something from Abruzzo, probably Montepulciano. 2005. Obviously Italy. Andre, I honestly do not know what the next 4 wines are.
I honestly have no idea what this is. It feels like it has the soul of Gamay, but like a little bit more depth. It's so light on the back palate, but also really satisfying. Like it fills the whole back palate. The tannin is super soft. It's still young and fairly primary. So if it is a brut, so like this is a testament to holding on to it and aging it. But I'm gonna guess that this is a 2014. Of no clue what else it is. Only because I've been guessing 2014 on all of them.
And you sooner or later you're gonna be right. You're the blind squirrel. Sooner or later, every blind squirrel finds a nut.
Maybe I'm having my Biden moment right now.
Joel, you were in Italy, but where you think northern Italy, southern Italy?
No, it feels more north or central to me. And
I'm going to say Sicily just to be contrarian. But anyways, continue.
Let's just throw it into to Tuscany just for the heck of it. I don't know.
High altitude Sicily.
There's a bit of wood that I'm tasting. Some vanilla on the back end. What do you got? Oh no, he's laughing.
Go ahead.
He's laughing.
Finish it.
Oh no, it's probably like another Lipinski wine.
Or did I throw a Hail Mary and score the touchdown?
No. So you think so we all think it's Italy of some kind, right?
No, I don't know what it is.
So it's Lebanon.
Oh, it's
Chateau Moussard, but it's a jeune. So this is going to get Joel excited. I don't know if you've ever had a Chateau Moussard.
Yeah.
Chateau Moussard jeune, which is like his entry level wine from 2008.
I haven't spat any of this out.
It's delicious, eh?
It's really good.
Yeah.
That's wow.
But this is Bordeaux varieties, right?
Well, actually, the back label here says Cinsault, Syrah, and Cab Sauv.
Yeah.
Oh my God! So like we're dealing with some Rhone stuff in there.
The fun thing about Cinsault, it's that plumpness that you get on the palate, and Moussard is no stranger to wood, even though some of the actual like proper Chateau Moussard, you need decades to really unpack them, right? And so this is meant to be drunk younger, but you can have some ageability. There's the plushness, there's the mid palate. Like it totally makes sense.
But like this wine is 16 years old, and it's still for me all primary fruit. Like
I see some development. I know where you're going.
Some development. You get the bricking in there, but
it's got some development, but like it's not drying out.
Yeah,
it's. Yep. It's certainly not the Ohio wine that we had. It's certainly not the Australian wine that we had. Like, it hasn't moved that far. Like, it feels like this wine still has a long life ahead of it if you want to drink a baseball glove.
How much longer, but I mean, I definitely would have, yeah. But it's good. I'm surprised. Because, funny enough, the reason I brought it is because I thought it was going to be terrible. Sorry, guys. And because the last bottle I had was a number of years ago, and it was atrocious. So obviously, bottle variation completely.
I can't tell if this is underripe or corked,
or a dumb phase,
or both.
I don't think it's corked.
Is this from 2001 Ontario?
2001?
I don't know. It's got something really not good on the nose.
Well, balance got a little sweet coffee and vanilla
and pencil shavings.
This is pretty closed and muted. I don't know if there might be some cork taint that because cork taint can work on that spectrum where you just mute it, right? Where it doesn't really become obtuse. It just doesn't give you much. I don't know.
I'm not totally offended by that.
I seriously, it's my favorite thing about Stump the Chump is it's just like. There's no immediate, this wine is good or bad. It's just like, this wine might have a redeemable quality to it.
I think I'm not offended by that. I do not think it's corked. It could prove me wrong.
I still think there's a little bit of cork on the nose.
It could prove me wrong in about half an hour. In half an hour, we definitely know for sure whether this wine is corked.
At least we're going to give it a taste on the palate. Like,
I don't think it's corked on the palate.
I've got a second vote for corked.
I don't think it's young. I don't.
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit.
Just a little bit.
But you can taste it still. I still get a little dried out fruit. I'm going to go 2010. I'm going to go Ontario. That's as far as I can go. I don't get the pyrazines, so I don't think there's Cabernet Franc in it.
Yeah, the nose threw me way off because I couldn't tell if it was pyrazine or cork. But what we're gonna say, Syrah. I'm gonna say Syrah. Let's say Syrah.
No, it's corked. I'm sorry.
Family Tree, 2009, 43% Merlot, 26% Syrah, 19% Pinot Noir, 12% Cabernet Franc. So,
Wait, shouldn't this have been
Cool
under
vintage.
composite? Was this under composite? Do you remember?
no, it was just under regular.
Oh, well,
Just under a regular cork. So we're going to do a little rinse because I would like to see it in half an hour. If it's corked, I don't know. I'll just say it was corked. That's it. That's all I'd say. 2 bottles left, gentlemen.
Either way, that wine was a dirty wine to put into a blind tasting because how many regions on the world blend Syrah with Pinot Noir?
I don't know. I know.
That's a
We have the triple threat of Joel Wilcox here. Where you should
Michael. That's a knee hit on open ice. That wine. That's what that is on a blind
You know what
tasting.
that reminds me of? That reminds me of that episode of Frasier when Frasier and Niles had the blind tasting to be the head cork master. Do you recall that episode?
I didn't watch Fraser.
Oh my goodness.
Nor did I. Not that. I watched a little bit. Tall bottle or short bottle? Your call, Andre.
Shut up. Tall bottle.
Tall bottle it is.
Well,
Here we go.
What we're going to do after this is all over. We're going to have to find that episode.
And watch that?
Basically, it was Frasier and Niles, and
You got
to win the position, it was a blend. It was a Cab Merlot blend. I'm spoiling it if you haven't seen it. And so obviously, one brother thought one grape, one brother thought the other, and then hence he became cork master. But you'll have to watch it to find out who.
My favorite Frasier and Niles moment is when they both appeared as siblings on The Simpsons. Basically playing the same characters as they did on Frasier. And I think about the quote in my head often is, "Scream out the window, you'll live to regret this."
I like this. I like the there's a subtle chocolate note.
It tickles my nostrils. Ooh, this is chocolatey. Well, this is definitely a better batch of Stump the Chump wines. This one, it's lacking depth, but it's not terrible.
No, it's drinkable. Again, I opened them a little bit, but some of them a little bit before, some of them while we were doing. But this is.
I'm going to guess this is a 2014.
Jesus, Murphy.
It's a 2014, but I haven't guessed the region or variety yet.
I want to say that it is a. I get some nice tobacco notes, so I'm going to go with a ripe vintage Ontario.
I'm going to guess this is a ripe vintage Ontario.
Is there an echo in the room, Joel?
Is there an echo in the room, Joel? I find that the extract is so dense. Like what I'm looking at here is like if it's
but the tannin's soft.
Yeah, so my feeling, it feels more Cali to me, the way that it's presenting itself, because you've got all this color, you've got soft tannins, you've got a warmer, built-up mouthfeel. It is a little bit one-dimensional at this point now. I don't find it's really giving me a ton. So does that mean that it's a simpler, like $20, $25 value wine that's aged for a few years? It's still tasty. It's modern.
It is tasty.
Yeah, it's modern. It's well-made. I mean, I would sooner go like, the 2014 angle. I don't know. It's popular tonight. 2014 is a heck of a year. I could go with that. I mean, 10 years old. That stands to reason. It's.
Don't hurt yourself, Michael. You're in very deep thought.
I'm thinking if I'm going because I get a lot of tobacco, but I get some chocolate. So that's why I'm thinking that it's Cab Franc. I think it's hot vintage. I think it's Ontario.
I'm thinking it's Cab Franc. I'm thinking it's hot vintage. I'm thinking it's Ontario.
I think it's 12 or 16, but I'm going to go
I think it's 12.
12. I'm going to go 12.
All right.
I think Michael's copying me.
That's it.
Let's go with it. Let's see what we got.
Okay.
Is this Trius? I think it's Trius.
Same family. Ooh, but the wrong variety. Cabernet Sauvignon, 2012, small lot, 30 bench.
That's tasty.
That's really nice. So hot vintage Cab Sauv actually does work in Ontario. So you got a 12.
You know, I'm going to cut that little clip of you saying Cab Sauv works in Ontario. I'm going to cut the other part out.
In a hot vintage.
I know, I have a quote of you saying Cab Sauv works in Ontario. And that's going to come back to haunt you.
Yeah.
I might just, play that at random times now.
All right, we've got our last wine.
It smells like balloons.
On Stump the Chump. What do you? Have you been keeping score, Joel?
Oh, I'm pretty sure I'm at 0.
I am also at 0.
Just to go back to that.
I'm surprised you didn't get the Ohio wine.
Well, if it were from Virginia, then we'd see. But the Cab Sauv here that you just pulled out from 30 Bench, though, I've always liked them as a big built-up red producing house. 12. It's funny. I was thinking about this a number of years ago. We did a big O2 tasting at Canoe before I actually worked there. And I'd love to see a whole swath of 12s now, at this point, a few years on, see where they all
Looks
sit.
like he's got to come back. I can pull out a bunch of stuff.
We can put the call out for some 12, see who's got stuff in the library, and get some people. I know there's a lot of people who listen to this podcast.
I do have a bunch myself, so.
Ooh, do you have any Red Shale?
Yep. Yeah, I got a whole bunch of 12. 12 is probably one of my biggest 12 and 16, my two biggest years. They took up, my cellar. They took up 2 rows. So.
Oh, so you fell for the whole Robert Parker thing, hook, line, and sinker.
Well, you seem to like it. You were saying it's a good wine, so.
It is good wine.
So. I don't know where to go with this last one, though.
My first nose, it smelt like when you open a bag of balloons from the dollar store before you're about to blow it up. But it smells more fruity now.
Yeah, I think that's just like some of the VA of age that can kind of come out, like those secondary, tertiary notes.
Wait, balloons have volatile acidity?
No. Just sometimes those high-toned aromatics can be mistaken, right? Like you have a smell in one direction, it takes your mind there, and I don't necessarily get the latex that you're getting, but I do find because of those mature notes and like the dry leaves and a little bit of mushroom, they kind of come together in that. They hit you at the high end of the nose, that's all.
All right.
This is red wine.
This
older red wine
is a 2014.
Jesus. Just Jesus.
It's a 2014 from Ontario Cab Bleu.
I'm going to say it's an Italian red from
2014?
Oh.
This is very dried out. I'm not getting too much off of it. If it's, I feel like it's in the 2010 and maybe older range. Is it Ontario? I don't know. Possibly. It's past the point of really giving me a lot of variety. Like I guess we're in like the Cab Merlot camp of like dried greens, dried herbs, but. Yeah, I wouldn't mark this for one of those specifically.
So, Andre, you when you asked me originally to pull this one together, you said give us something, at the beginning and something at the end, and make it interesting in the middle. I think I achieved that goal because the first wine was and the last wine was but I think the middle was quite interesting. I have no idea what this is, so there you go. It is Ontario. It's a Mike Weir Reserve 2010 Merlot.
I was right. Exactly what I said. 2010 Merlot.
If it had been a 2014, yes, it would have been dead on.
No. You heard me. I said 2010 Merlot, right?
From Mike Weir. He actually said Mike Weir.
No, nobody says Mike Weir. I don't think anyone ever said Mike Weir. That's why the winery's not around anymore.
So...
By the way, there's my spicy hit for the week. Slide into my DMs to talk about that.
Oh.
I haven't heard from many people complaining when I said Angels Gate's the winery no one's going to miss either, but somehow that got some people into my DMs.
So, Mike Weir, I don't think that's the winery anybody's going to miss either. So,
Joel, thanks for being a good sport.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Give a shout out to your handles, how people can get a hold of you. Where can they buy some of your delicious Fourth Wall wines?
Yeah, just look it up on Instagram at Fourth Wall Wines, and we'll connect you the right way there.
Buy the Gamay. It's so good.
You know, something we haven't talked about in a little while, literally while we were recording this podcast, we got someone who is helping us make this podcast happen. Ryan Chambers has just become a Patreon member for Two Guys Talking Wine. So patreon.com/Two Guys Talking Wine. I'll be blunt. We don't have a ton of patrons. We make maybe $30 or $35 a month, depending on the month, on Patreon. It's enough for us to pay for our hosting. We've upgraded a little bit of equipment, but Michael and I are not making any money off of this podcast. So it's not like we're stocking our cellars with great Mike Weir and
Laurentia
long
wines.
flat wines with the money coming in from Patreon. So if you like what you hear, patreon.com/Two Guys Talking Wine. We have a few tiers. We will even do a private tasting with you if you pledge to be a high enough member. We did it with Ken Little, who is friends of the program.
Yep.
Granted, we weren't super organized. We promised to be more organized next time, but I think everyone who's been listening to this podcast for a while knows that being organized is not our strong suit.
It is not.
And yes, I'm Andre Prue of AndreWineReview.ca. I promise to update it at some point. I think I'm about 7 months behind.
I'm a little behind myself. I
At
think my
Andre Wine
videos
Review.
gets done. Oh, you're still talking. Sorry. Go ahead. Finish.
At Andre Wine Review. Yeah, we're going to get more videos of you screaming at the camera.
Correct.
Excellent.
Actually, I have a new microphone set up now. So hopefully...
I look forward to hearing you scream in Dolby Digital Surround sound.
So hopefully it'll be either really well or it'll have a nice hum in the background. Either one. The microphones are I don't know. I got them off
at
of Amazon.
The great guy
yeah,
on
that's
some platforms. At Michael Pinkus on others. Take us away.
I'm Michael Pinkus of MichaelPinkusWineReview.com.
I just said that.
Thank you, Joel. It was a pleasure to have you on our largest Stump the Chump ever. Good night.
Thanks for listening. Please subscribe to Two Guys Talking Wine on iTunes.
Two Guys Talking Wine is produced by Jim Ray, Adam Duran, and Ken Little.